Hello everybody, today we're gonna play another e4 game. We get the card on. Let's play a fantasy. So I can learn you a bit about the system. Two main moves are e6 and just taking the pawn and now responding with e5. This is just a bad move because now I develop. It's important to develop first this knight to stop the queen from going out over here. And we don't want to take, we can maybe play c6, defending our center again. Or I also like this move. Yeah, I like this move, just pushing the pawn down, so we get a protected pawn. It stops this knight from developing to the square. We can give this check, we can pin the bishop. So let's first give this check, and then pin the knight. So here we just take, develops the knight, and we develop our knight, defending the pawn again. Now we just want to castle. So that's what we do, getting a rook to the f-file, he castles also. Now we want to look for moves into his territory. Stuff like knight jumping into the center, attacking the queen. By the way, I think taking the bishop back with the queen is a bad move. He should have did it with the knight, so the queen could go out this way. And the knight would have been developed, because now the knight maybe has to go something like this. Or the queen has to move and then the knight comes. And that's also possible. So next thing, so there he goes. We also should look at this move. It doesn't work because we don't have enough. But we can play maybe bishop f4. Defending the knight, and we place that move. I was thinking after take, we could have pushed. But now, after the bishop moves, I see that this pin is available, but then we would lose the knight. So we also have to defend our bishop. But our bishop is actually defended by our rook. So I think this is actually... So he plays a6. That gives us this square, but not now, because the queen defends. We could push this pawn, but then he would just push this one. And also, the idea of sacrificing our rook ain't bad, because then we can maybe give this check. King has to run. We can bring our other rook. But maybe it's a bit too much. We can also maybe just stop b4. Yeah, I like this move a lot. He develops his knight, defending this knight, so the rook sacrifice doesn't work anymore. Now I'm just thinking about queen d2 and stacking on the d-file behind our pawn. I don't want to push yet. I think we should just take that one. Let's see. Yeah, let's take it. Relieve the pressure. No. Now this pawn is hanging actually. So are we going to defend that pawn, or are we just going to push? This rook sacrifice is still an idea, but maybe. But let's first bring a rook in the game. I like this move actually. Going to the f-file, so we gambit this pawn, but then we sacrifice our rook. We don't have this check anymore. So maybe then we play knight going to the center to take this pawn with a check. So yeah, it doesn't really work yet because the queen still defends. So now I just like solidifying this pawn. Actually after takes he still has to play take, but we gives a check. Doesn't really matter, we move out of the way. Yeah, take, you can take this pawn, but it's still the same idea. So let's see if he goes for it. Then we take, yes. Look, we take the knight. And then we go with our knight. Taking this pawn. When we take, our queen comes in to one of these squares, threatening checkmate, or maybe on the long diagonal, setting up discoveries. This is just winning, I assume. He is actually 1820, that's pretty high, but yeah, we're not really 1756, so that's good. Rook over, it's an idea, but it's just way too slow. Also, first, because of our back rank, just checkmate. And second of all, it just costs 2 moves, where he can maybe play rook e1 attacking a knight, and then move his king. So let's see what he does. f4 doesn't really help. Then we maybe even, I don't think we should give this check. Then he has to move, and then we jump in. After this we go there, but then he has rook up maybe. So after f5, I think we should play check, and then set up a discovery with the queen. So now we threaten this fork with a check, maybe even double check and checkmate. So let's see, if he plays a nonsense move, you have double check. If he moves back, it's checkmate with the queen. And if he moves up, we can give this check, just move here, and then we bring the knight back, and it will also just be checkmate. So he has to maybe move forward already, and I don't, but then we can maybe just fork. Threaten this check, yes, now we just fork. We also threaten this check, then he has to come up. So this is just easily win. Then we maybe even have g4 check. After king takes, we get in the rook, and after pawn takes, we get in the rook the other way. Now we can take this rook with check, and then maybe just push, or we can go for checkmate, queen check. King has to run forward. We take this pawn with the queen or with the rook. With the rook is checkmate. Oh, it's not, he can move there. But now we have ladder checkmate, check, and mate. So that was a nice game. Let's analyze the game. Maybe we even have a brilliant move. Let's see. So we played at 76.8 accuracy. We have a brilliant move. It was the rook sacrifice. So let's go to start. Play this position. Yeah, like I told you, e5 is the move. e6 just gives us a good position. We develop best move, putting the pawn in the center. We shouldn't have taken. What should have we played here? We should have just castled. Because what after the bishop takes? Yeah, after bishop takes, rook e1. Oh, and after this we have this, winning back the bishop. Alright, now we know that, but this is also just fine. We develop castle, centralize our knight. Yeah, like I told you, this was, yeah, it was better to just take with the knight. So now we get initiative with the knight to the center, the bishop comes out. This was not the move, we should have go after the bishop like that. Then I thought maybe take, but then we have good pressure on the knight. And we, if the knight moves back there, we have this idea. But up went here, he took, I took, e6, e4. He thinks I should have just pushed. This best pawn is a strong asset for white, but then after b4, doesn't even want to defend this knight. It's to go there. What if you, it's a brilliant move. After take, oh, we win the rook. So he can take that one, but what if he takes this one? Then we take this. then rook h6 with queen h5. This is just gonna be unstoppable. So you see the fantasy is full of these brilliant tactics, but we just played it a bit slower. And here, what was the move? The move was also d6. d6 is a lot of times a strong move just to take space and get it closer to queening. But I went for the more tactical approach. And after he takes, we sacrifice our rook. We get in the knight. This is a blunder. Ooh, actually because of this one and this, it's just unstoppable checkmate. But this is also just winning. This is a mistake actually. We should have played g4, opening up the king, getting the rook ready. Because after this one, he could have played f6. But now I would have maybe... I would also win back my rook, so I could have even played something like h4 over here. He moves his rook, I take with check, and I push, and I think this endgame is just good for me. But we gave this check with the rook. This is made in one, but I played it. A ladder checkmate, rook and a queen. So let's go to the highlights. One brilliant move, very nice. Taking the knight in front of the king, opening the king up, getting in the knight with the queen and the rook. So thank you all for watching this video, and I hope I see you all on the next.